All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So Tony Ferguson has gone off on the UFC. Straight up went off. And here's the thing. In the last few videos that I've done about Tony Ferguson, they've kind of been on the, on the wavelength of like, dude, is he okay? Like, is he all right? I'm going to be on a completely different wavelength on this one because I think that what he's complaining about is not only merited, but needs to be discussed. And I've actually never talked about this on the channel, not at length anyway. And so we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to talk about, the belt at 155. Actually, I'm going to talk about what I want to see for Tony Ferguson. And then I'm going to talk about the belt at 155 because Islam Makhachev's made some comments about the belt and they relate back directly to some things related to Tony Ferguson's situation with the UFC about him getting stripped. Anyway, we're going to talk about all that. So if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Here's the thing, you guys. So I'm learning now that if you say things like, hey guys, you know what? I don't think Brendan Schaub's the worst guy ever. A bunch of people will start coming and like putting negative stuff on your videos and like, giving your videos thumbs down and all that stuff. And then like, so the ratios, like, they're not that bad. They're like, still like 90 or whatever. But that shit matters for YouTube. And so if you're like a regular viewer of my channel and I don't know, you think that I work hard and you like my content enough, if you could throw a like on the video, I would appreciate that immensely. And maybe even a comment and maybe even a subscribe. That would be really helpful because, I don't know. I just, I thought maybe you guys would care that I'm getting, dislike attacked by a bunch of little weasels on Reddit who aren't even MMA fans. But anyway, so any help would be great, guys. So so this is going to be a good video, though. For real, it will, because I got a large, wide-ranging thing to talk about. But the first thing I want to talk about is what Tony Ferguson's main complaint is, okay? Well, maybe not his main complaint, but a big one. And that has to do with health insurance, okay? Now, I know, oh my God, how is this going to be an interesting topic? Health insurance. Well, I'll explain exactly what is going on with health insurance. So he's just talking about himself, where he was asking for health insurance, right? And I bet a lot of people have not actually thought about this very much, but here's the deal. The only way that the UFC pays for anything that you do related to your health, whatever, is if you're injured inside the cage, right? And I'm talking inside the cage on fight night, okay? So if you go in there, you get your, you get your face broken, you get whatever, the UFC does pay for that, right? Like you get injured, UFC pays for that. So you do need to note that it's not like the UFC is like completely not involved with the fighter's health. That's not true, right? They do pay for injury sustained in the cage. The flip side of that is that they don't pay for injuries sustained outside the cage. Now, can you think about common sense ways that would affect a fighter's life, right? Like we've talked about a million times, how important wins and losses are, how critical winning your fights is, and how devastating losing fights is for your career. And so, I don't know, hypothetically, let's say you're a guy who makes 20 and 20, okay? So you're on like the lower end, you're a new UFC fighter, okay? You make $20,000 a show, $20,000 to win, and you have a, half torn meniscus, right? Like you shouldn't fight, like you should not fight. However, unfortunately for you, you don't have the money to deal with that because you don't have health insurance. Or at the very least, you can't afford good health insurance. And so you go and get an estimate from the doctor. You're like, dude, I can't afford to do that. Can you think of what you might do to handle that situation? Can you think of what you might do? Common sense? Probably go fight. You would probably go in and you would probably fight. So you could say, oh, I tore my meniscus. And then the UFC will pay for your torn meniscus. But you had to go fight with a torn meniscus in order to get that to be the case. Okay? Now I stay away from the business stuff. So I guess you obviously the fighters want healthcare. And I think that I've always kind of just been like, well, I don't know the UFC's business. Like, I don't know, whatever. But they've got this kind of delineation. It's like the fighters are independent contractors. Now I have no idea if you can provide healthcare while sustaining a relationship of independent contractors. So it's possible that that's why they don't do it. They don't want to make them W-2 employees. But if you really think about it, like it's like, okay, so each guy, right? So like how many fighters do you have on the roster, right? Like you got like, let's call it, I don't know, 400 fighters on the roster. And then let's say each of them, but like, let's say average average premiums would be, let's say $1,500 a month if you have a family, right? So times 12. So you got 18,000. So you go 18,000 times, let's say 400 fighters. You're talking about $7 million to give health insurance to everyone in the UFC. Okay. Does that seem like an unreasonable ask? $7 million? Okay. Now I might be miscalculating that, but I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't think I'm miscalculating that. So if it's just about the premiums, come on, man. Come on. Now, again, if it turns out that actually providing healthcare would, like healthcare for, or just like the, health insurance, these guys would be $70 million, then I retract my fucking statement. But if the cost to give health insurance to the entire UFC is similar to the base salary of you paying one of your top guys for one fucking fight, then maybe fucking open the checkbook and give these guys fucking healthcare, But again, I don't know. So I'm going to leave it alone. I don't talk fighter pay. I don't talk business generally, but that one seems like a reasonable ask to me. So the other thing that Tony Ferguson talked about was that he got stripped, and he was talking about how, and this is all related to healthcare. And you know why that's a super relevant thing for him? Is because he was at a press conference for him and Khabib. He's wearing sunglasses indoors like he always does. And he tripped over a cable and he fucking tore his ACL. Remember? And he was out for like 18 months. So apparently I don't know if he said he should have sued or whatever, but he got stripped. Okay. So he got stripped of the title because of that. Now you can't complain too much about that. It was an interim title. But at the same time, the interim title was the title, right? Because what ended up happening for that fight, if you guys recall, was they ended up having the real title on the line, and it ended up being Khabib versus Al Iaquinta after Holloway couldn't make weight, okay? And so that brings us to the other part of this conversation, which was Islam Makhachev said that, I want to make sure that I understood exactly what he said. I think that what Islam Makhachev said was that Charles Oliveira's belt is a contender belt, right? Or something like that. I think I read that correctly, where he was basically saying, you're not even the real champion. I think that's what he was saying. It's possible what he was saying was something having to do with the weight cut that he missed or whatever. I don't know, maybe. But I'm going to talk about it as if he was saying it's a contender belt, and he was implying that Khabib was the champion, and you just picked up Khabib's scraps. Here's the thing about that, dude. So when Khabib became the champion, he did the same thing. Then he ended up beating Conor afterwards because Conor was the real champion, so it doesn't really apply. But I'm just saying, the only way to solve this is for Khabib to come back. I'm saying that's the only way to solve it, dude. The only way to solve it is for Khabib to come back and then have him fight, Charles. Says everyone who's a fan. But okay, so now last thing I wanted to say is this. So Jesse, it seems like you've been I don't know, whenever you're talking about, Tony Ferguson, it sounds like you're questioning his whatever. And I'm not, dude, I want to make this perfectly clear. Here is exactly what I want for Tony Ferguson. I want Tony Ferguson to go to 170, and I want him to fucking win the championship. I want him to not only go to 170, I want him to win in spectacular fashion in his first fight. Just batter a guy. Beat the fucking piss out of him. Take heavy shots and eat them. And everyone's like, oh shit, dude. Oh shit. This guy was built for 170. What the hell were we doing? And then he goes and he batters another guy. And they go, oh my God, could this be? And then they give him a title shot. I want him to win the title because I love comeback stories, dude. I love them more than anything in the world. I love them. And Ferguson never got his payday, dude. That can't sit well with anyone who's a real fan of the sport. That cannot sit well for anyone. That if he gets to the end and he never got that payday just out of just sheer fucked up luck. I mean, that's not the only reason, obviously, but anyway, that's what I hope for him. So that's what I got. You guys should go watch the video that I did earlier today. I don't know what the hell's going on with the notifications, but they're fucked up, I think. Unless the army of trolls is affecting my suggestions, I think. So You know, if you guys have a problem with trolls fucking with me, then all you have to do is just like the video and share it with your friends and then comment something positive. Love you guys. Peace.